Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. We are just a few minutes earlier than planned. And you know what? Everything happens in the right time, in the right season. My name is Melissa P. Dunn. I am the host of this Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. I'm also the CEO of MD Marketing Network and the founder of this Dunn Wisdom movement. Y'all know I absolutely adore introducing you to women and ideas that are really designed for you to step fully into your greatness and become the person that God intended you to be. And so today I'm introducing you to one of my favorite people. She is a retired Lauderhill police officer turned entrepreneur. She is a woman of God, a mother, a wife, a grandmother. And you know what? She's also a community leader and a servant. And so put your hands together and welcome to the platform, to the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show, Miss Yvonne Pubien. Hey, Yvonne.
Good morning. Good morning. And thank you so much for the invite. Thank you for your kind words. And I'm super excited to be on here this morning just to share some nuggets I've learned along the way. And yeah, I'm excited.
All right, fantastic. Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you get involved in law enforcement?
Oh, law enforcement. I was a teenage mom at 18 years old. I got pregnant and I had my first son. With that being said, I would say in my mind at that time, being a teenager, limited resources as far as what I was going to do with my life and what I saw my life as at that moment. I was a mother and I
Yeah.
was just grasping the motherhood. A friend actually sent me an email asking me to sign up to be a correction officer. I had never thought about being a correction officer. I actually wanted to be a teacher. So I
Mm.
needed to make money fast to support my son and myself. And that just seemed like the route to go, right? So I applied to the correctional facility, got hired, went through the entire test and got placed at one of the prisons, South Florida Reception Center or South Florida
Mhm.
Evaluation and Treatment Center, one of those. So um, going into that prison system every day, seeing young boys, young men, because I was at a male facility,
Mhm.
seeing what was happening there, it broke my heart. Seeing
Mm.
such young men come inside the prison system. I wasn't very acclimated or I didn't know much about the prison system until I started as a correction officer and seeing what
Mhm.
actually happens there versus what you think in your mind is a different world. And
Mm.
it was depressing to me
How
because
old were you then? How old were you when you were doing that job?
I was 21.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so I didn't see a way to help. And those who know me, they know I love giving advice. I love helping out. And this definitely was not an outlet for those things. Your job was kind of rigid and they had a way of doing and operating, and you had to operate that way for a safety reason. And there was no way to really encourage someone in prison. So I
Mhm.
knew like that was not the answer. And all of a sudden, I decided that, well, maybe I should be a police officer because I actually like the structure. I like the
Uh-huh.
structure. I like the business of being a correction officer, but just didn't see an outlet. So
Mhm.
I went and I did the testing and everything that was required, and I became a police officer.
Wow,
Because,
that's so
yeah,
amazing. I mean, when I think about just even that part of your journey alone, being a teenage mother, and then somebody came to you and suggested something, and then
right.
now you're in an environment where you're working in the prison and you are basically at the tail end of a cycle, right? and you knew enough, you were connected enough to yourself to know, you know what, this really doesn't feel right, but I like the structure. Let me try something else. And so for the second time, you pivoted.
Yeah. I made a whole pivot. Had to go back to school, had to get the tools that I needed in order to become a police officer. So I had to thrust myself back into the academy, graduated, got hired by Florida City Police Department. So I was way south, right?
Ooh, girl, what a drive.
Yes, I was on vacation every day. I literally had to take an hour drive from my house, and I just took that time to think, meditate. By the time I got to work, I was in a whole different place, right? So
Mhm.
I realized the police department had so many avenues for me to do community service, for me to get involved with the youth, with adults, and it also had the structure that I like.
Mhm.
I love structure, but I like being able to maneuver in that structure, right? So
Sure.
hence community policing was based, that was the department for me. So someone again came and said, they're hiring at the city of Lauderhill. I didn't know nothing about Broward County. I'm a Dade County girl. So
Mhm.
they came in, they told me what, and I'm like, what is a Lauderhill? So I went looking around. I honestly, I didn't know anything about Broward County, and because Florida City is a very small police department, like they're like I wanted to move in community policing, but it was going to be a long time because it's a very small
Mm.
department, limited
Mhm.
number of people, and people stayed in their spaces. So I thought about, listen, you can stop the hour-long drive. I had a lot of meditation, but I was tired and I was getting sleepy coming home in the morning. So I decided to apply at the city of Lauderhill. Graciously, I got the job, and yeah, I started my long-term career, and that's where I end up retiring from the city of Lauderhill. So yeah, that's how I
Wow.
started out.
That's so interesting to me. And how long were you with Lauderhill PD?
So I did 20 years.
20
Did,
years.
did,
Wow.
did my 20 years and enjoyed. When I say I enjoyed being a police officer at the city of Lauderhill, they embraced my wanting to serve the community and try new
Uh,
things and create programs. They kind of
love,
embraced it, and say, they would send me off. Yvonne, just go and do what you do,
I
and that
love
kind
it.
of
I
was
love it.
a open ticket for me. So yeah.
Hey, Barbara, good morning to you. Thanks for watching. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I know we started a little bit early today. And Barbara is saying, wow, thank you so much for serving and protecting our beautiful city. I feel the same way too, Barbara. So, the common thread I'm seeing here in your story so far, from the first act to the second act, and now you're in your third act, is just a sense of really connectedness, is how I would describe it, right? A sense of connectedness enough that you knew who you were. You took time to really, meditate and pray and be with yourself. And then you were open enough that when change was required, that you were open to the counsel of others, wise counsel. And, sometimes that's a little bit challenging for people.
Yes, it can be because you can't always trust the advice of everyone that come and land something at your door.
Mhm.
I get a lot of advice. I get a lot of suggestions about the way I should handle things or whatever, but it always takes me back to prayer. So
That's it.
when somebody come in, give me a suggestion or advice, I don't care who the person is. The first thing I do is I pray about it. It can be the janitor, it can be somebody walking down the street that stopped and
Mhm.
said, hey, this, that, or other. And I thank them for the word, and then I pray about it. And then what tends to happen is I'll start getting little nuggets or little insights that, or opportunities based on, maybe a suggestion or something that they said to me and I prayed about. And for me, most of the time, it has come if it's truly something that I'm supposed to be moving towards, the answer starts finding me. I might start looking in the direction, but doors and opportunities start inviting
Ooh.
themselves where I don't have to push it. It's kind of like almost laid out for me. And that has happened so much in this business. Like, I I can't even begin to tell you from, our story that I
Well,
retired in.
before we talk about that part, I just want to go back to that little nugget that you just says that the answer finds you.
Mm-hmm,
I think that's really powerful. So when you have when you can always tell, for me at least, I can always tell when it's time to make a change, right? There's a level of discontent that starts to happening. And then, I go into prayer and ask for guidance, and then, expressing my desire, asking for what I want, and then
mm-hmm,
the answer really does find me. That's a powerful, powerful strategy.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So now you're working in Lauderhill PD for 20 something years. At what point did you start to think about your second act and how to pivot from from the badge to business? Like, when did you start planning your exit strategy?
So believe it or not, I was actually going to go in the drop. So I finished my 20 years, just signed my papers, and I was in a real good place. When I say a
Mhm.
real good place, I'm doing community policing. My kids are no longer kids, they're adults. Everybody's working in their prospective places, and I'm at a good place at the job. I have a great relationship with the chief and with my colleagues that I work with. And yeah, I decided I'm gonna do the drop for a little bit, and I actually signed a paper and started the drop. Okay.
Mm.
My first year in the drop, so maybe 4 or 5 months in the drop, and we're heading towards Christmas time. So we do this massive event. It's called, not okay, so we did Shop with a Cop, but Secret Santa. So this was an actual activity that they allowed me to build this program. And this is where the police chief comes out of her office with her command staff and goes around to each school and award kids because you've just been doing the right thing. It's not a criteria based on financial needs, or because a
Uh-huh.
lot of time kids get gifts based on, okay, the finances or your family. No, no, no. This is Secret Santa. The chief is going to come and award you with a bike and a bag of toys because you're recognized
Oh,
for your
I love
excellence
that.
in school. And when I say we make this a big to do, we decorate the vans, we do the whole gamut for it, right? So we had just concluded this event, and it was another year. This was the third year, and it was like an amazing event like always. And we were actually, the chief said, we're gonna take you to eat, Yvonne. They took everybody to the pizza place, and we're sitting there, and I literally hear a nudge. Tell them you're leaving today. Why?
Stop it. What?
Te- tell them today is your last day that you're putting in your 2 weeks notice. And when I tell you, I actually have a picture of myself, and I'm sitting there at the table, I'm looking in my phone, and I'm hearing this at the same time. And somebody took a picture of me. So I have that picture, right? And so it was so strong that when we made it back to the police department, we all went upstairs. The chief, like, again, everybody was on there. Oh, what a great event! Okay, we got a plan for the New Year's. We're going, like, let's enjoy our Christmas now. And for the New Year's, we'll have a meeting. And I literally went and sat in the chief office, and I told her, I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice. And she was like, what? And the deputy chief
Her
came in
face
like,
probably looked like mine. A while ago, I was like, wait, what?
what are you saying, Yvonne? And I literally had to tell him, I don't know, but I keep hearing God tell me, and I would tell him this. I hear God telling me I'm gonna be doing something with the foster care system. Now I didn't even know what that looked like. My kids are adults. I knew I didn't want to have no more little babies, right? You have to be honest with yourself. I didn't want to foster, but I knew I was gonna be doing something with the foster care system. And they were like, Yvonne, okay, just and I was like, no, I'm gonna retire. And that day I retired. I gave them my notice and I retired. Um, I want to say after retiring, it was actually 6 months of being retired, being home, and not having anything to do. And I'm like, wait, hold on. God, did I hear you right? Did I hear you say I needed to retire? And believe it
Wow.
or not, there was a detachment that happened with me in the job. I was literally having dreams about going to tell the chief, no, chief, I didn't retire. Da, da, da. And I was like, what is this about? And so during that time, fast forward, I realized God was he was letting me see who Yvonne was outside of the badge, right? I've been Officer Pubien for over 20 years, Officer Pubien, and now you're Yvonne. So who are you? And that 6 months, I really had to spend time praying. I had to spend time detaching from that identity of being Officer Pubien. And I think the moment that, or the moments when I was actually okay, I was
Mm-hmm.
okay with waking up in the morning, going to the gym, coming home, taking care of my family, me and my husband, and just doing ordinary things. That's when I got the nudge again. Um, Revamp your nonprofit. So that gave me something to do, right? I sat down, I revamped the nonprofit. Um, I was looking for someone to do the incorporation of it because it's a little bit more detailed than a regular business. And as I was searching, someone called me and goes, hey, Yvonne, we're doing a back to school event. And I know you used to do events with the police department. Will you help us out? I was like, for sure. Yes. And so I was like, okay, this is really going to tell me if this is something I enjoy doing, or is it something I did because I was a police officer and because it gave me the opportunity to like do fun stuff at the police department, not just take people to jail, right? So I need to know, like, is this your heart? Is
Is
this
this
your heart?
purpose? Is this purpose?
Right.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so I did that event. And when I tell you the momentum that happened in there, the money that we got that came from left and right, not because I was Officer Poobian, but because people like they know my heart for the community and they jumped on that, right? And so we did the back to school event at Broward Estates Elementary. We actually had 200 book bags that we acquired just from donations and coming together. And when I say I enjoy every exhausting minute of it, from the time that we actually had the event, I enjoyed every minute of it. I didn't get paid for it. It was not about the payment, but I enjoyed it. And so I knew, like, yep, I want to continue to do this. And so it's like, okay, so you revamped the nonprofit. Where, like, you can't go around asking people for everything for your nonprofit. I feel like you got to have your investments in this place, in the space where you say you truly believe that's what, if you're not going to invest in yourself, who will? So I decided, like, I wanted to invest in myself. So
Well,
I
before
thought,
you go into the next phase, I want to unpack what you just said a little bit because there are
okay,
quite a few nuggets in there. So, what I heard, what came to me is that you were radically obedient You were so connected, right? So anchored that you were able to hear God's voice so clearly. And even though you kind of, you still acted on obedience and you took action, you retired without even having a backup plan. So you really surrendered completely. And I have to tell you, Yvonne, that's what I was praying about just this morning, is to be so surrendered and give up control in such a way
Oh my
that
God.
I just allow my daddy to do what he got to do, and just know that you trust, in a way. And so for me, that was a really powerful story. And then giving yourself time to reconnect to your purpose and just being like, following the plan. You didn't have to hear A to Z. You just knew A to C, and you took action based on what you knew.
And I'm gonna tell you, that's not easy for me because I like knowing the full plan so I could prepare. And the fact that I have learned and I'm continuing to learn in the the phase that I am in now, there's a grace for every transition. There's a grace for every season. And I'm learning to embrace the grace that God is giving me in those moments that I'm unclear, I'm unsure, but I will move. I will move in the direction. And I start doing small things like I don't just go and jump off the cliff. I start doing very small, minute things, and I watch God's response and bringing the resources that I need to get those things done. So, nonprofit, he tells me to go ahead and revamp the nonprofit. Then somebody comes along with the opportunity for me to work, right? Free work. And this is going to be my time, my effort. And if I was so focused on the money and what is it for me and um who gets the accolades, who if I was focused on any of those things, I wouldn't have did that. I wouldn't have took out all of my time of the day to ask my friends and family and other people for money to support something that really wasn't my own. But that's not my heart. My heart is
And
the
it's
help.
your service that led to the business, really. It's your willingness to surrender and to serve and to be obedient that then led to the business opportunity. So
Mhm.
now you've been focused on the nonprofit, you planned that big event, you fully gave of your heart, reconnected to your purpose. Then what happened?
And so I knew for sure that I wanted to run the nonprofit, but what really would my nonprofit do, right? Because we have a ton of nonprofits that's doing great work out there. What would be different that I can provide? And so that took me back to my time as a police officer when I remember imagining being able to give teenagers jobs and being able to take them to create things or do a garden. Like I always done non-traditional stuff as a police officer. Like we'll be out there on the beach kayaking. Some of the first things that kids have done in my programs have been very new to them, and some of them have been new experiences for me as well. So I knew I wanted to bring something different, and all of a sudden I started seeing nailed it. And I've never seen a franchise where you build things and all of those, you know, components. I wasn't interested in it. That's probably why I wasn't seeing it because that was not my interest. But all of a sudden my interest was piqued by just a constant bombardedness on my page with different activities that allow individuals to create to. And so I saw it that they have it listed like a party plan in place, come and host your girls night out. But I saw a whole different thing when I saw that. I saw those aspects of the business, but I also saw a space where kids can get carpentry skills from doing the woodwork. You can actually have a job where they have to engage with a variety of culturals and people. So there were so many aspects of that business that I saw beyond the fact that it was a place to come and have a party. I just knew it was going to be a right fit for what I wanted to do. And I like doing hands-on stuff. I like the experience of it. So hence I jumped into the boat with Nailed It.
I love it. So you were merging your purpose, your passion with business,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And
going really stepping into a territory that was brand new for you. So once again, you're willing to learn and to surrender to a process.
right. Woodworking was definitely not my claim to fame, but it is now. Like I can almost call myself. So when they come and say you're an artist, yes, ma'am. I got an award to make it official. ArtServe gave me an award.
Hello.
So
I love it.
yeah, I take advantage of that now. I'm an expert. So from there, oh my God, so many amazing things happen.
So how
In
long have you been in business now and nailed it?
So we're coming up on 4 years. December the 19th.
Congratulations, by the
Oh,
way.
thank
And
you.
let me just give a shout out to you. You were cohort one of Lauderhill Shines of
Yes,
my
ma'am.
capacity building program. So y'all just so
I wear my shirt to represent. I appreciate Lottie Hill Shines. I really do. I
I
have gleaned
love
so
it.
much from you. Um,
Hmm.
I just want to say that openly. I have gleaned a lot of wisdom. I'm glad that your show is called the Dunn Wisdom Show, but I really have. I'm growing in so many different ways, and I've gained mentors, and I want you to know you're one of them. So,
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's what this is all about because I really believe that as women, we really got to do a better job of supporting each other and holding each other up and really being holding each other up as well as being accountable,
mhm.
and help submit to each other for, for our own growth and development. So you've been doing the business for 4 years. And what I love about your business model, Yvonne, is that you're kind of doing both simultaneously. I personally see you more as a social entrepreneur than anything else, to be honest. Because even though Nailed It DIY is a for-profit company, you do have a nonprofit arm. So you are working with foster kids. You are doing a lot of those things that you dreamed about doing before, and continuing to serve kids and youth in a way. So for me, every time I go to Nailed It or every time I refer somebody to Nailed It, I'm not only supporting your business, but I'm also supporting the service that your business provides to the community. So for those people who are looking for an opportunity to feel good about spending their money, in my opinion, you can feel good about doing business with Nailed It because you then turn that money around
Mhm.
and serve the community. So talk to me a little bit about how you use your business as a tool for social change.
So that entire dream about working with the foster care system, and I won't even say it was a dream, it was just in that moment I heard God tell me I was going to be working with the foster care system. So in 2020, when we finally opened our doors, with the open close, um, having a workforce at that time, we had spent so much of money between getting the business up and running, the aesthetics of the business, all those things, that we didn't have a pile of money for workforce. We would have had to make sacrifices. And along comes a young lady who asked me, do you know about this and so, or this organization? I'm like, no, never heard of them. And I made it my business when I was at the police department, like, to know different organizations, find out what they do, find out ways that the police department can partner with them. And believe it or not, I had never come across this organization. And I'm glad that I never did, and because all credit goes to God, because He's the one who sent the young lady to me to even make mention of it. And the partnership that I had with Handy Homes, incorporated them allowing their youth that the youth that are in the foster care system in some shape or form, they're now being plugged into the for-profit business to get workforce readiness, right? So
Oh, I
here's
love
that
that.
tie-in with the foster care system that I had no idea about, didn't know how it was going to work in my business model or structure, and these became my employees. So here
Wow.
I am doing just what God had told me before I left. You're going to be working with the foster care system, and in 2020, um, the majority of my staff was from the foster care system. And when I
Mm,
tell you, we had a heck of a time with just connecting in that studio, connecting with the community. And I believe with all my heart that a lot of people even did business with us because they knew that we were working in hand with the foster care system. And that was something that tugged at their hearts as well. Whether I never confirmed it, but I wholeheartedly believe that had a lot to do with the customers because we were a brand new company. We didn't have a
mhm.
real footprint, and not a lot of people knew what Nailed It was. But once they got the word out, they met with the staff, they met with us, and the experience that they had there, they would tell their family, their friends, and so hence the business just continued to go.
See, yeah, and I love that. And I do believe though, Yvonne, that people want to feel good about where they spend their money. They really
Yeah.
do. So, guys, if you have a question for Yvonne or a word of encouragement, please do type it in the chat. Yvonne, I want to transition now a little bit to what lessons do you have, or what nuggets could you share with a person, a woman in particular, who may be thinking about taking that next step in her life, in her business, and transitioning? Like, what advice would you offer her?
Okay. So I will tell you some of the gems that I think I've gleaned from this business, and I'm still growing in them. Number one, I had to sit down and ask myself these questions, and I wrote this stuff down so that I make sure I get them all. I needed to identify, who am I doing business for, right?
Mm,
I had to sit down and have conversations with myself to be a better me and a better me in my business. Had to understand, am I really serving God with my business? Because that's my intentions when I started out. So um, when they say your why, that's why I started business. I wanted to make sure that I was reaching a community, not only in my personal life, but being able to offer something back to the community as well. So,
mm-hmm.
what's my business model? What I intended it to be from the beginning. Um, am I okay with not having this business? Like, that was a big one.
Ooh, that one.
Yeah.
That
Am I really
one right
okay
there.
with not having this? And I would say these questions really stuck out to me last year, coming up on the close of my lease. I could have closed my business. I was ending my 3-year lease, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to sit back and ask all these questions. And then I had to ask, do I really trust God? Because I know I had a level of trust for God when I was at the police department. And I never equated the two, that, okay, every 2 weeks I do get a paycheck. But
That part.
in yeah, in this business, like, you may not get a paycheck, and you might do a whole bunch of work with no paycheck, and people
Yes.
have expectations from you. And yeah, um, what was the next one?
Well, hold on. Let me just pause for there for just one moment. And I could tell you that that is perhaps one of the biggest reasons why people dream about entrepreneurship and they don't take the leap, because they are afraid to give up their security. They're afraid to give up that security, right? And let me tell you what I've learned. I think for me, you got to be clear about where the source of your abundance lies. If you believe that the source of your abundance lies in your job, in your paycheck, in the people that are patting you on the back, telling you good job, then entrepreneurship may not be the right thing for you in this season.
So
But
wait, you actually answered the last question. Look what my last question says. Can I still get to a place of abundance without this business? You
mm,
answered that. And that was a question I had to ask myself. Do I trust God enough that this, whether I have this business or if I'm in the workplace, wherever I am in this stage of life, do I trust him enough to know that he'll use wherever I'm at to get me to the
boom,
place that he wants me to be, and I will accomplish everything he wants me to do, no matter what that place look like. So
boom,
yeah,
right
yeah.
there. And you know, it's so funny. I think that everybody, no matter how much you think you trust God,
Hmm.
right? But it's a whole other level when you're in business and you have people are depending on you for their payroll and your clients are paying their invoices on time.
Hmm.
I mean, you know, late. Do you see how much I'm like speaking into existence that the
Yeah,
money comes on
yes.
time?
Let
Look,
it
look,
come.
right?
But yeah,
But boy, wait, girl, that's like a whole show. That's a whole other show. So you had to ask yourself all of those questions. And what answer did you get?
I trust God. I'm
Period.
trusting God. I'm growing in trusting God. So there's not like even a final. This is a growing
Ongoing
trust
journey. Yes.
through every space, every transition,
Mm-hmm.
every place that he's moving me, whatever direction it may be in. I trust him that he's providing the right resources, he's putting the right people in place, and all I need to do is show up and show up well and be
That's it.
willing to show up. Um, yeah, I got to
Show
be
up,
willing to show up.
show up well, and be willing. That part. Oh my gosh. Listen, I could tell you in this conversation, you have affirmed or confirmed some stuff for me that I'm growing through right now. So thank you for dropping some nuggets and some wisdom in my life this morning, Yvonne. And I'm sure that you have done so for other women and men who may be watching this show as well. So just real quick before we close out, speak a little bit about your business and how can we support you so that you can continue to support youth in this community.
Okay, so Nail the DIY Studio, Fort Lauderdale, because there are several. Yeah, we want to continue to impact the community through our workshops. So whenever you book a workshop, whether it's for a birthday party or team building for your company, or just to pop in and do something creative, we're there to serve you. Every dollar you spend in our studio help keep the doors open, help us keep growing. It allows our youth the opportunity to serve, to explore, to learn. Um, and then the nonprofit side of it, we have summer camp, spring break camp. We have different opportunities for you to sponsor a student to attend one of our workshops throughout the summer. High school students that may want to come in for an internship. We take as many as we can, but there are times that the funding actually helps us to take them through an entire week of our programming at no cost to the parents. So, whenever you do business with us, you help us continue the good work that we're doing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Yvonne, for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you so much for being who you are and for the service that you offer the city of Lauderhill and that you offer Lauderhill youth.
Thank you. I would like to mention there's the Rise Up Summit. You guys look for it. Type in Rise Up Summit in Google or Children's Service Council. This is a partnership we have with Miss Arlene Connerly for father, men's, and boys. It's going to be out on the beach. It's going to be something fun for the family. So look out for that event on November the 18th and join them.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Why don't you in the comments when you get off, just post the flyer so that folks
Okay.
will have reference to it. Thank you so much for joining us, Yvonne. Continue to be
Thank you.
blessed.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a
My
wonderful day.
pleasure. So
Okay.
thank you for watching this extended version of the Dunn Wisdom Morning Show. I'll be back here on Wednesday, sharing with you some more nuggets that will hopefully inspire you to become more of who you really are. Thank you again. And remember, be kind and loving to yourself because you absolutely deserve it. Be well, everyone.